immensely grateful that you all have chosen to anchor yourself here today on this beautiful day. I know content tracks can be tricky to navigate around, and apparently you could be enhancing your doc's UX with AI in Ballroom C, I think. But I'm glad that, and I'm excited to sail around with you. I think I'm running out of my on-theme puns, but maybe not. To talk about progressive web apps. I've been working on one for a while, and I'm so grateful I have this platform to share my experiences with you. I am Ankita. I work at Dallas SecureWorks with an amazing team of developers who, together we are crafting this Kick SaaS app, which is a cybersecurity progressive web app, and it's a lot of fun. I live in Austin, Texas. Laura mentioned I'm also co-hosting the Angular Plus show. Shout out to my A+ co-host. They're amazing people, A+ people. And yeah, I'm a GDE of Angular. So, progressive web apps. To me, when the bare existence of progressive web apps implies the existence of conservative web apps. And I mean, English is such a fascinating language, and words can be so tricky or triggering. I don't know, for those of us here living in the United States, with the upcoming presidential elections, we'll be hearing progressive and conservative, I don't know how many times, but what does it mean when it's combined with web apps? Well, there's no such thing as conservative web apps, at least not yet. Maybe they're waiting for the right browser to come along. But let's take a step back. What are web apps? Or how about the map? I remember, and I'm aging myself here, but using Photoshop was such a pain. That software would take years to just load up, and now you can use it on your browser as a web app. Actually, it's also offered as a progressive web app. It is definitely one product that has progressively enhanced their user experience and has come a long way. So web apps, typically, when we think of web apps, we think of a software that we interact with, and all you need is probably a browser and a stable internet, and you could do all the tasks that you want or just interact with the software. And websites are typically something that just provide you with some basic information. There's not a whole lot of interaction going on. Sure, you might be able to update your theme or change some preferences, but it's more for information. But guess what? All of the screen grabs that you all just saw, they're actually all also progressive web apps. But why would they do that? Why would they offer a progressive web app? Software distribution is a really hard problem to solve. Here, I have examples of the same product having almost 10 different links for the user to be able to just use their app based on their preferred device or their operating system. Here's the thing, though. Users don't care what tech stack you use for your product, or how many links you have to go through just to be able to use your product. What stays with them, what they remember, is the experience of using your product. Whether you call it Facebook, Fakebook, Zuckerbook, Boomerbook, you're not going to say that I use that on my browser to stalk my ex. What is going to stick with you is the experience of doing that, whatever your preferred device is. And the web is already where most of the users are. The web has more reach, but the native apps, they tend to have more user engagement. And that's where progressive web apps kind of balance it out between the two genres. They act as a lightweight, performant alternative and a great middle ground for users. Because users really don't want to be using a mobile app. Like, there are 50% of users, according to the study, who would rather use the site on their phone versus the app. And I know I find it super frustrating when I have to download the app for a restaurant just to be able to browse their menu or pay for parking at Trader Joe's, which might be a very downtown Austin specific problem, but it's nice to know I'm not alone, that I don't want to download an app. My space on my smartphone is precious to me, and I don't want to have to download an app for just to be able to perform a single task. So that's where progressive web apps tend to shine more, that as a great alternative between the two. Like all these apps that you see right here, they're all have a web presence and have native apps, and are also being provided as web apps. Can we all just pause and appreciate this one thing real quick? How far we have advanced as humans that we can have a dating app, a work email, and a mindfulness app all right next to each other on our phones, just ready to tap and go deep down in the rabbit hole that we like. I find that fascinating. Okay. So whether you want to provide a better experience to the users with unstable internet or provide a consistent experience regardless of what device the user uses, there might be numerous reasons, but I know a lot of companies are reporting an upward tick towards their engagement. They're tracking their PWA sessions, are seeing more engagement through those versus native apps or their websites. And customers really prefer experiences that are fast, installable, reliable, and engaging, like Fire. And again, numerous studies that point towards how progressive web apps are the solution for that. Now, some of you might be wondering, how does this apply to my Angular application or even my enterprise Angular application? I'm sure I'm not the only one in this room who has experienced death by 1,000 tabs. Like 1 minute, you're just reading through the documentation, and next second, you're like opening all the links in a new tab, and then there you have it, all these tabs with the same favicon, and you don't know where you started. Or you're just multitasking, and you have all these tabs open, and then you forget which was the main tab with the main task. They kind of start looking all the same, and I know browsers can get really savvy with their tab organizing solutions that they have these days, but it's so easy to drown in the sea of tabs. And I feel, even for our enterprise progressive web app that we offer, most of our users are cybersecurity analysts who prefer large monitors, and we tracked our PWA sessions, and we noticed that 38% of our 38% of our PWA sessions were on desktop. And that was fascinating, right? Because it's also validating to provide an enterprise app also as a progressive web app, because we are able to leverage the caching API instead of relying on the browser cache and all these other web APIs, and really provide a seamless experience to our users. Whether our analyst is writing a really long investigation, like a cybersecurity investigation report, and they have a spotty internet connection, their experience is always seamless because they can keep running the task in the background, and once they're online, it just connects. I think it's a great business model. I know YouTube offers offline access to its premium members through their progressive web app. So think about it. There might be a few things that your enterprise app could do like that. And in this ever-expanding world of web APIs, there are so many more features that you can leverage. If you want an badge icon, there's a badging API that you can leverage. If you want push notifications, there's solid support for push notifications that you can have. Truly, the PWA power, when combined with Angular, empowers to set your apps on fire, like to make it fast, installable, reliable, and engaging. PWAs have so much to offer, and I mean, we don't really have time to get into it, but there are a lot of great, there are a lot of great tutorials out there. My personal favorite, of course, is from, I guess, a few years ago at ng-conf, when Mark right here talked about, rapped about progressive web apps. Highly recommend it. It is good, really. I've listened to it so many times as I was prepping for this. So, when you convert your Angular app into a progressive web app, you get the power of the Angular service worker and the customization options from the web manifest file. And the result is that you have a supercharged app. So you all remember Petra, right? Laura just mentioned her. She reached out to Laura to look for her website's performance. Well, she did. Laura gave her number, and just minutes ago, she's like, I don't know, I just want to look at the list of my cats, but all I keep seeing is this dinosaur on my browser. And I was like, I think what's happening is that because she lives so high up in Colorado, her internet is spotty, and she's offline and doesn't realize, clearly she's not very tech savvy. And she also is a cheapster, doesn't want to pay, but it's really it's such an easy problem to solve for. All I have to do is run the schematic, and let me show you, whoops, if I can do that quick. So I have checked out the repo. By the way, GitHub is also offered as a PWA. You can check it out. How can you check out GitHub? You know what I'm saying, right? So all I have to do is run ng add PWA, and it'll ask me yes, it's so polite. Here I have my consent, and really, it adds all these assets, and here's your power couple that it added right here, and it adds all the images that you would need for different resolution sizes, and it updates everything that you would need. So all you have to do is ng build, which again, by default is production now, and then you view it on your server, and it's there. And you can see that you can now install it as an app. That took me 30 seconds to do. That's the power of Angular. Yeah, how cool is that? So I actually did this in another branch because I wanted to have a cat for a favicon and all the things. So, and I also added a bit more responsive CSS. But what I really want to show is that even if I have, and the easiest way to check that your app is being converted successfully, that you have this service worker and this manifest file, and you see that the service worker is running all good. And so even though I am offline, I can just go and look at the cats. Wait, let me refresh so that you guys believe me. Look, you can still interact with the page. Click 5 times for the timer, for the clock to load, and do all the things that I would have to do, and try to get back to my slides. Okay. So all of that, and I had this video in case I failed. So really, power of Angular is, you've all been hearing about it and are probably familiar with it, that Angular offers so many features purely focused on performance. And there you can leverage these and then have your progressive web app, but then also leverage these to make your progressive app even more performant. And so I have this demo app, and you all are welcome to scan it. And I'll show you. My dear friend and amazing coworker, Kyler Johnson, created this app. It's a Pokemon app. He wanted to be able to look up Pokemons and look at their types or their powers and everything. And I was like, that's a great example of an app that could be a progressive web app, because as you're playing your video game and you're like, oh, which Pokemon is this? And because there's so many, you don't know, and you just look it up. So it's like, that's so cool to be able to have it. And I just have this custom prompt that shows up for iOS, because it's different. Whoops. It's different for everyone. Like, these options right here might be different. I've customized mine. So all you have to do is tap this Add to Home Screen right here, and I've already added it. So let's go ahead and look at it. This is the app. You can look at all the Pokemons and search it, and yada, yada, yada. But isn't it cool to be able to just quickly convert an app to do that? The other reason why I wanted to show this to you, if I can switch to the browser again. Okay. So this is the app that I showed you, and I can have it loading in, hang on. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I have it in the browser again, and what I wanted to show you is another cool thing that you could do is this is what it looked like, right? And I'm gonna clear all the things, and if I were to change the resolution for it to be a tablet device, notice how the paginator changed. And so I was able to just, don't double click it, have just that conditional expand, click. Oh, here. No. I did this so many times. Why is it failing me? Okay, I just want you to, I'll try this again, okay. So refresh and clear, and if I change the tablet to tablet view, notice how the previous next buttons changed, and what I'm trying to share here is that's where the paginator component loaded when I changed it. So, because quite often people will be like, oh, if I have just one thing, or like one whole giant code base for all of my devices, does that mean I am CSS display blocking a whole bunch of code, but then it's also getting it's part of the bundle, but it's just hidden by CSS or something like that? Sounds a lot of responsive CSS. And because Angular is so powerful, you can actually solve it in a different way. You can only defer load it. So in this example, if you have a heavy data grid that you want to just complicate it with all filtering and faceted filters and all of that, you want to display for large screens, but you only want to display a small, like 5 bullet points responsive card for smaller screens, you just defer load the component based on either whatever condition that you want, like a small screen or whatever way you're tracking the user's screen resolution or device. And that way, you're still able to only have the optimized bundle size being delivered to your end user, which I think is amazing. You'll have so many things to do you'll have to do so many other things. Like, think of it, if you weren't to deliver the same application, you'll have to have it go through all the Play Store hellholes, like trying to get it approved and delivered, and also maintain a website. You have 3 code repos at the bare minimum, whereas with the progressive web app, you only have to ever maintain 1, and you're able to optimize it and still eliminate the components, or not even deliver the components that are not needed based on the device. So, in conclusion, I think I've given you all enough pointers to talk to whatever are your stakeholders to convince them that if you already have an Angular app or are starting out with a new one, just to maybe consider a progressive web app. And it's so easy, like it took me 30 seconds to ng-add, update those images. And if you already don't have responsive CSS, which I don't know why, it's 2024, just sprinkle some of it and leverage so many of the numerous APIs that we have. Thank you.